being broadcast.
All right, I think those elections are very crucial, and I'm going to pick your brains on that as well. But Professor Swaran Singh, if I were to understand US's latest stance, it feels like US first engineered a coup in Bangladesh, supported the students to ensure that Sheikh Hasina and her government, the Awami League, falls, and is now concerned with what's transpiring by the way of Chinese influence. Are they going back and they finally realize that India as a partner to Bangladesh is better than Pakistan and China as a partner to Bangladesh?
Very clearly, Shweta, whatever the United States does in South Asia, and I do want to underline that two former prime ministers of South Asia, Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh and Imran Khan of Pakistan, have openly, publicly said that the fall of their government was partly because of United States effort to bring them down. Now, whatever US, as I said, does in South Asia has clear focus on, browbeating China's growing influence in the region. So that apparently is the main concern that would drive United States into engagement of this kind. Apparently, to me, I will vary here compared to Ambassador's analysis. To me, this reflects a bit of discomfort, because if newly appointed ambassador Brent Christensen was in communication and interaction with Jamaat, why it is that 3 days before the elections such an agreement has to be finalized? And of course, China. Openly, ambassadors speaking about United States providing military aid, not just itself, but also with its allies, to find alternatives for Bangladesh to China. Is Bangladesh looking for alternatives? China is the biggest supplier of defense equipment to Bangladesh, and almost monopoly in high-tech construction and main road corridors, etc., etc. From 2004 or so, largest imports to Bangladesh come from China. So is Bangladesh actually looking to go away from China in that sense? And to me, surprise of 3 days before, as if the assessment in Washington was that 3 days later the deal may not happen, or the deal could become more difficult. To me, it comes a bit like a surprise why in the final days of Dr. Yunus's still being in power or in position, such a deal has to be signed. And of course, nitty-gritties of deal
let's not forget,
are interesting.
Yes, let's not forget that initially there was an NDA. So the nitty-gritties only came out a few days after the deal was signed. Indeed.
So, talking about suddenly now 15 to 25 Boeings to be purchased by Bangladesh, $15 billion worth of energy in next 15 years or so. One is not sure how will Bangladesh do it. Look at their economy, which has decelerated enormously in last 1 year or so. Enormous unemployment. The main export of Bangladesh, virtually 80% of export is ready-made garments, which primarily about $10 billion out of the total trade of $55 billion go to United States. Most of those factories are now down, enormous unemployment. How is Bangladesh going to meet these requirements that United States is placing upon them? And the whole talk of zero tariff for certain ready-made garments is also very interesting. This will depend on man-made US origin cotton yarn, which will be so expensive.
Absolutely.
And of course
very expensive. Freight cost added
to China and India.
That's right. So Professor Swaran Singh, look like Yunus has bitten more than he can chew, that he's thankful to United States for giving him the position of authority that he's enjoyed, and so now it's payback time?
I think that's an interesting illusion or analysis that you are suggesting, that perhaps Dr. Yunus is looking for a role for himself, maybe potentially president of Bangladesh or so, and is therefore enhancing credibility in that sense of having done major things of major investment from China, trade deal with United States, also partly dealing with India without much damages in that relationship. So could be his personal gain, but why United States need to strike a deal 3 days before the election, that is what surprises me.
Okay, I'm not an expert, sir, so I'm just America should be
It's a
taking
welcome
cognizance.
development.
Absolutely. Sudhakarji, I've completely run out of time. Professor Swaran Singh, let me end with you. I just have 1 minute, sir. But as far as the role of Yunus in all of this is concerned, I think he's lost favors with everyone. He's lost favors with Washington. He's lost favor at his home, in his home turf, as well as with India. What's his future after tomorrow?
I think that's partly because Dr. Yunus has been desperately looking for favors all over. So let me quickly say that there is great likelihood of Jamaat either forming the government or becoming the kingmaker. And the radicalization of discourse in Bangladesh is something we need to look at. And I would strike a note of caution here, because United States power in Bangladesh is the fact that 20% of Bangladesh exports go to United States. United States also wields the support of about 36 other countries, and therefore that is their influence. India's connection is, of course, certain amount of investment on the ground, but primarily historical, linguistical, familial, societal, etc., etc. And China is the big dragon in the room here in Bangladesh. You know, if you look at the kind of recent changes, China now has the Teesta River Comprehensive Management and Restoration Project. It is building a possible airfield in Lal Monir Ghat.
Right.
It is already building Chattarjee has taken contract on Mongla port now.
Absolutely.
And Yunus, when he was there in March, came back with $2.1 billion of all kinds of packages. So India will have to be, I think, rather cautious of how things move once the government comes.
India will have to be cautious, and tomorrow is going to be an important day. Hopefully, I'll take you all back to understand your assessment of as and when we get results trickling in for Bangladesh election. But I've completely run out of time on the show. Ambassador, Professor, Major